Hello, hello. Good Thursday, everybody. I miss you. Let's start with that because last week I did not have a voice. So this week, as you can see and hear, I have a very good voice and I am so excited to do the webinar for you today. I hope everyone is doing great. I just had a meditation session right before this, and today this is going to be a very, very fruitful, I think, and insightful webinar. We're going to be together for almost an hour, and we're going to be talking about a very important topic. I'm going to share with you my roadmap, the own roadmap that I put for my own success. And I hope that this roadmap is going to help you and guide you in your own success as well. And what I want you to do is I want you to stick to the end, because at the end of the webinar, I have an invitation for you, every single one of you. I'm so happy to have you here. I'm very excited for tonight. And I would really love it if you guys can share any thoughts that you have. I'm opening here the chat. So I'm going to put it on my screen so that I can see if you have any questions, if you have any comments that you'd like to share with me, or anything that you really would like to share. And without further ado, before I dive deep into the roadmap to success, the one that I found for myself and the one that actually worked for me, I want to share with you a story. The story is actually what led me to come up with this roadmap. It's one of the reasons mainly, but it was somehow that the turning point or the pivot that made me change and decide to do what I'm doing today and to go through my life following this very specific path and this very specific journey. So in 2020, the exact date was August 4th, 2020. We all know that year, the year 2020, was a big year, and it was somehow an unfortunate year for a lot of people. For me, I have to say that year was an eye-opener. It really taught me a lot of things, and it really opened my eyes to many things that I had somehow managed over the years to hide and to put in the shadows and to put in the background, and kind of like put backstage and never tackle or never really go through those things. And the year 2020 was really my year to open my eyes for, so that I can see everything clearly, and from there move to where I am today. So on that night, it was around 7 p.m., I think, in Dubai, where I live. And I remember very well, I was actually in the shower, and I could hear my mobile, my phone. I could hear it buzzing nonstop, and there was a lot of, like, I knew there were lots of messages coming through, and lots of calls were coming through. And I was thinking, because I was getting ready to go out and meet my friends, I was thinking probably they are just checking on me, and they're thinking, okay, where is she? Is she coming? Is she not coming? So I didn't really pay much attention to the fact that my phone didn't stop buzzing while I was in my shower. By the time I finished my shower, I had, I was starting to get ready. I had forgotten that there were so many messages coming through. So I got ready. And then when I was going out, before I went out, obviously I checked my phone, and I saw, like, really dozens and dozens of messages coming to me from so many different sources. And I was like, what is happening? So I opened one of them, and it was like probably the most shocking video I have ever seen in my whole life. So I was looking at the video of the the port, the I don't know what that's called in English, in Lebanon, in Beirut, my home country, my home city. I was looking at the seaport, right? And I could see they were filming some sort of a fire, and then I could hear like some sort of fireworks. And then all of a sudden, like these were like few seconds, and then all of a sudden, the biggest explosion I have ever witnessed in my life, kind of like the Hiroshima bomb. This is how it felt to me. And as I was watching, I was like, literally, I almost dropped the phone out of my hands, because it was this frightening, and it was this it was just horrific. It was horrible. It was scary. It was emotional. It was unbelievable, to say the least. I mean, I really could not believe my eyes, and I thought I was watching a Hollywood production. I promise you, and I kid you not, I thought I was watching a Hollywood production. And those videos kept on coming and kept on coming. And then all I can think of, oh my God, this is happening in my own country. What is happening to my family? What is happening to, everyone that I know who lives there? And I started calling my parents. I started calling extended family. I started calling friends. And for almost 1 hour, I couldn't reach anyone. And you can only just imagine the worry that I had, because I didn't know. I mean, my parents, they live in the mountains, but they also sometimes go to the capital, which is Beirut, where the explosion happened. And they're either always in the car roaming around, or they go to our house in Beirut, which was very close to where the explosion was. So I was literally panicking for at least 1 hour, until I managed to receive a response from my parents saying that everything is okay. They are okay, but they had no idea what was happening. I remember my mother telling me, they live in the mountains, and the mountains are very far from where the explosion took place. She told me that she was visiting her friend, and in her friend's house, the building itself moved when the explosion happened, and they actually heard it. They heard the explosion. And this is how big that was. What happened next was what really kind of made me change my life. It took me to a place where I decided that this is it. I'm going to completely shift my life. So over the next 3 months from that date, the 4th of August, 2020, for 3, I think, or 2 months, now I can't even remember how long, and I think between 2 or 3 months, I wrote it somewhere, but between 2 or 3 months, I was literally doing nothing but watching TV and trying to figure out what happened, and trying to figure out how people are going to survive after such an explosion in my own home country, in my own capital, in my own city. I was always watching the videos of the explosion, the videos of the people dying on the streets, the videos of the people who hardly were able to walk because there was glass everywhere, to get from one point to another, the buildings that have shattered, the people that were just under the rebel of everything that fell off. It was not a good scene. It was not something that I was enjoying, but I could not stop watching. I could not put myself on a how do you call it, on a do not care pause process. So I was stuck to the TV for 3 months. I couldn't sleep well because every time I slept, I was literally dreaming of that explosion. And I would wake up panicking in the middle of the night. I was having panic attacks. I was going through a lot of stress. I was not eating. I was just mesmerized in front of the TV, trying to figure this out. And I couldn't even work. I couldn't do anything. Literally, I couldn't do anything. And then 3 months down the line, I was thinking to myself, okay, hang on. How is this helping anybody? How is this helping you? How is this helping anyone back home? What are you doing to yourself? And how are you helping others by being this person who is completely numb, who is only focusing on the bad side of things, and who is only focusing on this bad situation, and who is literally unable to do anything to help either myself or the people who have been subjected to this huge explosion. So I took a decision there and then, and I said, if I'm going to be like this, if I'm going to be stuck, how am I going to be able to help anyone around me? And then it hit me that by being stuck, there's no way I can help. You know, I always say, you cannot give something if you don't have it, or if you don't own it. So how will I be able to give support to people and to give high vibes and high energy and even positive energy to people if I am not feeling it myself? How can I help people go through their pain if I am unable to go through my own pain? How am I going to help people get out of their panic mode, or get out of their stress mode, or get out of their fears if I myself, I am panicking and I'm afraid and I'm struggling? So when I started thinking of things this way, I made a decision and I said, enough is enough. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to surrender to these feelings, and I'm not going to surrender to being helpless. I'm not going to surrender to that. And for me to be able to help others, I should start by helping myself. And that's exactly what I did. That's exactly how I started putting together my own life, putting it back together. Now, when I say putting it back together, excuse me, I didn't really think of it then that I was going to put it back together exactly as it was. But I made a decision that I need to put my life back together. I need to go back on track. I need to really develop everything for myself to help me help other people, to help me become that person who can guide others by going through everything by myself first, and by really figuring things out for me first, so that I can help others figure things out for themselves. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if that resonates with you. You know, when you don't have something, you cannot really give it. I mean, how can I give you a gift if I don't buy it first? Right? I have to buy it. I have to go. I have to make an effort and go to the market, and I have to make an effort to decide what sort of gift should I get for my friend or for anyone. And I have to pay money for it, and I have to bring it, and I have to own it before I can give it away. Does that make sense? And if you resonate with this, let me know. So this is exactly what I did. Instead of me sulking and instead of me being depressed, because that's exactly what happened. For 3 months, I was completely down, completely depressed. I didn't even talk to anyone. And whenever I spoke, if I spoke to anyone, it was always about the negative things that were happening. It was always about, you know, how could this happen to us, and who did this, and you know, it was never how we can survive this. It was never about what's the best way to survive, until I decided to shift, until I decided to break out of that pattern that I was living in that period. Now I'm sharing this story, and this is one story. And I can bet that we all have stories like this. We've all been through a lot in our lives. We've all been through the ups, the downs, and we've all had so many traumas and so many experiences in our lives that have put us in situations like this one has put me in. And the best thing that we can take out of these situations is really how we stand back up, how we use those situations in order for us to become better people, or to become better versions of who we already are. Because I truly believe that every single one of us is an amazing person. Every single one of us is a person who has a lot of potential, a person who has a lot to give. But because of life's experiences and because of all the unfortunate events that we go through in our lives, we become sometimes numb, sometimes we become blinded, and a lot of times we become conditioned. Actually, most of the time we become conditioned. We become conditioned by the traumas that we go through. We become conditioned by the life that we go through. We become conditioned by everything that we see around us. We become conditioned by what society imposes on us. And all of this happens without us even realizing. The minute we become aware, and this is where I am today, and this is where I would love every single person that I can help to become today, to be in like this place. Today, I am a person who does not linger on the misfortunes. Today, I am a person who looks at any misfortune and always asks herself, what am I learning here? What is it that this situation is teaching me? And I am like, this is the level of awareness that I want everyone that I help or everyone that I support to be able to live and to be able to master this level of awareness. I will tell you a story later on that just came to my mind to share with you, but I will share it a little bit later. But right now, I want to tell you what I did. So when I became so down, and I decided that enough is enough, I'm not going to do this, I started asking myself, why did I let myself dive so deep in this situation? Why did I allow myself to become so absorbed by what happened. And I started getting answers. And this is where I realized that there were so many things lying within me, so many limitations, I call them. Well, they are my limiting beliefs. They were my limiting beliefs. I realized that there were so many limits that I used to have that allowed me, or not allowed me, they actually drove me to that situation. They drove me to become stuck. They drove me to become depressed. And these were fears. These were limitations of courage, like I wasn't courageous enough. These were memories that I was holding from my childhood because I lived in a country that was always in a political unrest. So for me, the traumas that I had in my childhood because of all the what do you call them, the war that was happening. Every time there were explosions all the time, but this explosion was the explosion. It was the biggest explosion that kind of shook everything for me. And it's sort of, for 3 months, it's true that it got me stuck. But then after those 3 months, what happened, I realized, was that this explosion literally shook me from the inside and made all those limitations come up to the surface. All those fears, all those shadows that I used to have, they all surfaced and they all started showing. And because of that, I realized, okay, this is what I need to work on, because this is my major block. Having those traumas, having those limitations that were created within me from my childhood, from how I lived my childhood, from how I even survived my childhood. Something very important that I want you to remember about our limitations and our limiting beliefs. When we create our limitations, and yes, we do create them as children, we do create them, and we create them for a very specific reason. We create them to protect ourselves. You might think this is absurd, but it's so true. When you dive within your soul and within your, not soul, within your subconscious mind to remember what happened and why things happened to you, for you, the way they did, you will start remembering incidents in your childhood. This is what happens when you work on your limiting beliefs, that you will start remembering things, and you will start realizing that you created a certain reaction to the experiences that you've been through in your life. But those reactions, you created them there and then to support you, to protect you, to guide you. And in those very specific moments, those limitations that you created were actually helping you. The only problem with limiting beliefs is what happens when they are no longer required. So when you create them in at a certain point in time in your life, you create them to protect you. And then you move, your life, continues. Then this very specific situation that was the trigger for you to create this limitation does not exist anymore. However, your limitation is already there and instilled in your subconscious mind, and it is living there. So while the situation has gone, your limitation is still existing. And this is how our limiting beliefs block us, and this is how they limit us throughout life. Now we're talking about one. Imagine how many limiting beliefs you have created for yourself, because how many situations have you been through in your life where you needed to find a way to protect yourself, where you needed to find a way to be safe? where you needed to find a way to be secure. And that way was that limiting belief that you created. Now, another thing you want to know about limiting beliefs is that even though we create them and we call them limiting beliefs, but remember, we created them to protect us. So when we create them, they are actually useful for us. So we do use them and we do take positive learnings from the limiting beliefs that we create. But there are also negative reactions to the limiting beliefs that we create. So that's why they keep on being limiting beliefs until we release them. And this is what I did at the very beginning of my journey when I decided that I'm going to change my life so that I can help others. And that's what I did. I started working on my limitations. So this is the first step that I did. And this is the first step that I realized is the right step for me and people like me who have been through similar struggles or who have been through just simply struggles. You know, our struggles don't have to be similar for the roadmap to be the right one. Our struggles are struggles, whether they are alike or not. It doesn't really make so much of a difference. The what do you call it? The point of the story here is that we all have struggles and we want to learn from our struggles. What we learn from our struggles, we do that through understanding what our limitations are, because our struggles have created those limitations. And the more we go through life, the more we struggle, the more we sort of highlight and even enhance those limitations instead of releasing them. So this is why it's very important as a first step for you to go through your roadmap, or to as a first step in the roadmap to reaching the success that you want to reach, is to work on your limitations. Understand what your limitations are, release those limitations, and learn new important tools and programs to help you with your current situation. So it's not enough really to understand what your limitations are. It's very important. What you want to do is you want to understand what your limitations are. You want to understand what are the good things that you have learned from those limitations. You want to understand what were the negative things that you've learned from those limitations. And then what you want to do is you want to keep the positive things because they are supporting you, they are helping you, and you want to let go of all the negatives. And for you to be able to do that, you want to replace those negative things that the limitations have created in your life with new tools that actually work for you. Does that make sense? Let me know if that resonates with you. So this is the first thing that I did. I went through that journey. I went through a journey of digging to understand really where my limitations are, what my limitations are, where did they come from, and how to release them and what to replace them with. And I was kind of very successful doing that. At the beginning of this year, I was working on myself. I always work on myself. And I can tell you, every single one of us, when we start this journey, we are always going to go through an elevation process. This journey does not stop. This journey starts with us wanting to make a difference for ourselves first, and then for everyone around us. But when we start this journey, We started from this point, and then we start moving and moving, and then we don't really want to stop anywhere. We just want to learn more. We just want to be even more knowledgeable, more understanding, more aware. And we literally, when you start the journey, it's like all you want to do is you want to keep on raising your vibration higher and higher and higher, so that you can become like really the highest vibration possible on this planet. Okay, so when you start working on your limitations and you release them, this is what happens. You start vibrating higher. And as I was saying at the beginning of this year, I was testing myself to see how many limitations I still have. And I did a test of through a course actually, of almost around 800 limiting beliefs, very common limiting beliefs. I did a test on 800 limiting beliefs, out of which I so proudly can say it, I had tested kind of positive, like, okay, I had those limiting beliefs for 24 out of 800 plus limiting beliefs. And this is what I want for you to be able to reach a point in your life where if you test yourself for a limitation, you will get an answer saying, no, I don't have this limitation. That's what I did for me. Now, that was the first step. The second step that I did, that it actually came kind of automatically. It's not like I was thinking, okay, now what am I going to do? What's the next step? That's not how it happened. It sort of happened organically, right? So when I released all my limitations, when I figured out where my limitations were and I let them go and I replaced them with new programs, I started realizing that I am looking more inwards. I started realizing that I'm asking me more about me. Does that make sense? So I started digging to understand really what are the sources of things within me. Who am I? Like, who really am I? What is my mission? What is the biggest why that I have? Like, why am I here? What is my mission? What is it that I am here to do as a person, as a soul, as a human being? Why did I come to this world? And I started asking and I started digging within me, and I did my self-discovery journey. This is the second step for you to go through the roadmap to reach success. So I did my inner discovery and I realized so many things. I realized, for example, when I was doing my inner discovery journey, I realized that I didn't love myself enough, believe it or not. In that moment and during those years, I realized that I always used to put myself last. I always used to be the person who would be taken for granted. I always used to be the person who would always run for the rescue, but never ask for help, never ask for support. And when I used to go through problems myself, nobody was there for me. So I went on an inner discovery journey to understand my own self, to understand my own potential, to understand really what is it that makes me the unique person that I am. And you want to do the same thing, because every single one of us is unique. Every single one of us is their own person, their own personality, their own soul, their own persona. So you want to really do that discovery, self-discovery journey. And when you do that self-discovery journey, you start realizing that there is a lot that you have in your life that should not actually be part of your life. And you start realizing that you need to create some sort of a guidebook for yourself. Like, I'm going to have these rules in my life. I'm going to have these non-negotiables in my life. I'm going to have these virtues in my life. And there are more virtues that I want to learn, that I want to aspire, that I want to acquire in my life. So you sort of start putting together a map for how you want your life to be, following your own desires that you discover when you do your inner discovery journey. Many of us think or are trapped in this three-dimensional world. We are trapped in the material or in the materialistic side of things, and we think that this is where the answers are. We think that the answers are in the matter. We think that the answers are, for example, with money. We think that the answers are with other people. But really, the answers are always, always from within. And I want you to remember this all the time. Whenever you go through any difficulty in your life, whenever you go through any issue with even if it's with other people, I want you to do this exercise. I want you to always do this exercise. Always sit with yourself and ask yourself these questions. What am I learning from this? Why did I create this very specific thing in my life in this very specific time? Because we don't create things in our lives randomly. We create them in very specific times for very, very specific reasons. We do this most of the time subconsciously. What I am trying to help you or give you an insight on here right now is that you want to start becoming more aware instead of excuse me, letting these things happen to you subconsciously and just move with the flow or just let them happen. I want you to ask these big questions. Ask yourself, why? Why is this happening in my life? Why am I creating this? What am I learning here? Can I learn this in a different way? You know, when you ask yourself these questions, you start creating for yourself alternative routes or alternative solutions or alternative, just alternative ways to do things instead of surrendering and getting stuck and stressing and being overwhelmed. The exercise is very simple. Take a deep breath and just sit with your thoughts. And believe me, your subconscious mind is going to give you answers. Try it. If you don't believe, or if you have just a little bit of doubt, try it and let me know. I would like to hear back from you, even on the post. Like if you want to try this exercise, and reply back on the post and tell me, hey, I tried this exercise and you were right. Or maybe you would go through a process where you don't hear anything and you don't have the answers, and tell me, hey, I didn't get the answers. And maybe then I will talk to you and we will figure out why you didn't get the answers. Because sometimes if you didn't get the answers, it means there's something blocking those answers even. Okay? So this is the second step for us in our roadmap to success. At least this is the roadmap that I developed that worked for me. And I developed it because it worked for me. It did not I did not develop it and then I decided, okay, I'm going to go through it. I developed it after becoming this person. After going through all of this, I realized, oh, okay, so this is the first thing that I did. And then later on, I went through that self-discovery journey. And then, like I said, when you go through the self-discovery journey, you reach a point where you realize that there are so many things in your life that should not even be in your life. And that's what got me to the third step of this roadmap, which is the decluttering step, the clearing the space, the clearing the mind, the clearing the people in your life. When you get to this stage, after going through all your, releasing your limitations, releasing your shadows, and really becoming aware of who you are and what you are, and also after releasing your shadows and your limitations, you've already acquired new programs, remember, because that's what you're going to do. You're going to acquire new programs. Then you know now who you truly are. You know now what your non-negotiables are. You know now what your values are and where you really want to go, where you really want to be. You know your why you are here, the biggest why of them all. When you know this, you start realizing that, okay, this why that I have, and these these boundaries that I created for myself, these are my boundaries for other people, so that they don't hurt me, so that they don't cross my own beliefs and my own space. So when we create these boundaries, we realize that there are lots of people that we allow in our life. And I'm going to talk about people now. So that's the decluttering of people. Before I go to the space, I'll tell you why I'm talking about the decluttering of people first. When I teach first the decluttering of the space. But when I went through my own experience, I realized that the first thing that I did actually was I decluttered the people in my life. What I mean by that is I started becoming more aware of what effects people have on me. And I started realizing that there are, for example, a lot of people in my life, there used to be a lot of people in my life who are very judgmental. And when I did my own journey, I understood that I don't want judgment in my life, that judgment has no place in my life. So these people who were so judgmental, subsequently, I stopped seeing them, or even if I see them, I stopped hearing them. It's kind of like, even if they were there, for me, they did not exist. They were not there. They were not present. Like that kind of, when you turn your blind eye, I turned my deaf ear to these people, right? So for me, I started decluttering the people in my life before I decluttered my space, because I used to go out, I used to see people, and I even remember many of my friends used to, like, they used to tell each other. I would be sitting there and they would talk to each other. They would say, have you noticed how much Maysoon has changed? Have you noticed that she talks less now? And she's always like kind of observing what is happening. And that was very true. This is exactly what was happening. I became more observant, less talkative, and I became more of a listener. I became more of someone who would listen, and not just listen. I became that person who would listen and interpret and kind of understand the context of things from the perspective of these people, because I became very, very objective. And I learned how to do that through the process of discovering my true self, and through the process of releasing my limitations and learning new tools, and having, becoming more powerful with these new tools that I've learned. So I started becoming less of a person who would accept just anyone in their life. And I became more picky with who the people I allow into my life, into my own space. And because my vibration was higher, it kind of, like I said, happened organically that a lot of people stopped being interested, which is amazing because you don't want them in your life anyway. So they kind of went away without you making a lot of effort, or without you even, telling them or hurting them. Because sometimes we are afraid when we start decluttering the people in our life, we are always afraid to hurt those people. But we always forget to love ourselves. We always forget to ask ourselves, hey, okay, I don't want to hurt this person by letting them go out of my life, but how much are they hurting me by being in my life? This is the question I want you to remember. This is the question I want you to always ask yourself when you have any doubt about decluttering someone from your life, or not decluttering, okay, or releasing or letting go of someone from your life. Ask yourself, instead of asking yourself, am I going to hurt this person by letting them go? Ask yourself how much this person has been good to you, or how much this person has actually hurt you. And if the hurt is bigger than the good, then you don't need to worry about hurting these people. You can do it without hurting these people. You can just simply fade out slowly from people's lives. And you don't have to do it by telling them, hey, I don't want you in my life. Some people actually require that you tell them, hey, I don't want you in my life, because some people, they just wouldn't get it. You have to be firm with them. But a lot of people would just simply understand by you becoming more and more distant, slowly but surely, and they will stop being toxic to you. And we only want to release the people who are toxic to us. I'm not talking about the people who bring us joy, who bring us happiness, and who bring us an added value into our life. I'm talking about the people who are toxic to us. And believe me, these people are most of the time way many more than the people who are, good for us and loving for us, and who really deserve to be part of our life. This is the decluttering of people. But also in the decluttering exercise, you want to remember that decluttering your space is very important, because everything around us is about energy. Everything is about energy. We are energy. The plants are energy. The animals are energy. The furniture in our house is energy. Everything is energy. And for us to release our energy properly, we need a clear space. We need an open space. We need a space that is welcoming to our own energy. You want to think about it. It's like it's like you have a jar, right? If you have a jar and you are squeezed in the middle of this jar among so many other things, you will hardly be able to breathe. This is exactly what your space and your environment would look like if you clutter it, if you hoard, if you keep things that you should not keep, or if you if you just buy stuff and buy and put things around, and put things one on top of the other. And I'm trying to make it really look really bad, so that you realize how much your energy becomes lower because of the environment that you are in. Think about it this way. If you leave your house and you feel when you leave your house that you are lighter, this means that your energy inside of your house is being trapped. And it's being trapped by everything that is laying around in your own space, in your own environment. And that's when you want to declutter your space. Now, decluttering doesn't only happen on those two levels. So we spoke about the space and the what do you call it, the people, but we also need to declutter our time. We want to declutter our thoughts. It's like your brain is like your house. So if you have so many thoughts in your brain, everything is going to be very hectic. Everything is going to be, there's no space for you to, for your thoughts to move around. That will create overwhelm, that will create stress, that will create sometimes panic attacks, that will create defocus. what's the the contraire, what's the opposite of focus? So you will be really defocused. You will be all over the place because you are having clutter in your thoughts. So you want to make sure that also in your mind you are focused on the thoughts that make sense. You are focused on the thoughts that are adding value to your life. You are focused on the thoughts of today, of the present. You are not living in the past. The more you live in the past, the more your memories will be triggered, and those memories will trigger all the emotions that are connected to them, and those emotions will bring you back to those blockages that you used to have in your past. So when you start working on yourself, you want to make sure that you are living in the present moment, that your life is about now. It's not about the past, because the past has gone, right? We learned from it. It's very important to learn from the past, but we cannot keep on living in it, and we cannot live it again and again and again and again. A lot of people do that. They just live in their past. They keep on repeating the same stories in their minds. That's why I'm saying it's very important to declutter your thoughts. So this is the third thing that I do. And that's the third thing on the roadmap that I created for my own success. The fourth, and that's why I'm sharing it with you, and the fourth one that came naturally, again, organically, the fourth step happened just because I created space for it to happen. So when I cleared my limitations and I created new ones, new beliefs that are not limiting, when I created programs that were working for me, I became someone more powerful. I had more power. I had more knowledge. I had more awareness. So that's the first step, when I became more aware. And then after becoming more aware of my own, powers, and I realized also that these are the things that I want in my life. When I did my inner discovery, I had more clarity. Things became clearer, things became more apparent. Okay, oh, now I understand. Now I understand why I am doing this. Now I understand why I am here. I have clarity. No more limitations. Now I have clarity. And now I have a space that is welcoming, because I have removed everything that was taking away from my own energy, everything that was taking away from my own soul. I released it. I removed it from my life. So guess what happened naturally? Naturally, I was able to bring to my life everything that I learned from these 3 steps. So because during these 3 steps, for example, I remembered, because these things are not hidden. These things are not non-existing, and we just bring them to our life. Everything that you will learn in this journey is not a new learning. It's a remembrance. It's you remembering who you truly are. It's you remembering really what you've always had, but you were not able to tap into. When you go through this process, Now you found everything. It's like literally going to a treasure island and finding the treasure. You found the treasure. When you found the treasure, now it's open and it's clear. So what's going to happen is that the universe is going to start giving you the things that you have discovered you already have. So what I discovered when I did my journey, I discovered that my mission on this planet is to help people. My mission on this planet is to help people vibrate higher, is to help people in their own lives get out of their own struggles and becoming more successful and becoming the best version of who they already are. This is what I discovered. So when I discovered this, guess what happened? Because I had all the clarity, because I made space for something to happen, I manifested this. I manifested what I am doing every single week with you. I manifested this program. I manifested this whole journey of mine. Me talking to you every week, me trying to support you and guide you every week. This is the result of my work on myself. This is what manifested in my life because that's what I realized I wanted to do. Does that make sense? When I made space for this, it just happened. And it happened so organically. I did not even plan anything of this. It just happened and I started doing it and I started realizing that, oh my God, I am really able to help people by teaching them what I have learned from my own journey, by teaching them the steps that I went through and guiding them on those steps. I realized that I manifested this in my life because I created space for it by going through the first 3 steps of this roadmap. And today, this is what I want to invite you to do. Today, this is where my invitation comes in. So after sharing with you my whole experience, after sharing with you how I did it, I want you to let me know if this is something that resonates with you. I want you to let me know if you are in that place where you want to go through this process. You just don't know how to do it. And you don't know what the exact steps are. And you need someone to just guide you and take your hand through the process. This is where I am. This is what I am here for. This is the reason I exist, to guide you, to help you through this process, and to show you the way, in the right way, at least the way that worked for me. I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't gone through those four steps. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. I wouldn't be as successful as I am in what I am doing today. Actually, I wouldn't be as successful as I am in anything that I'm doing today, because everything that I set my mind to, I become successful in, because I have learned this, because I have mastered these 4 steps. And that's what I want for you. So this is my invitation to you. If you find yourself in this place, and if what I shared with you today resonates with you, if you feel that, oh my God, yes, I am that person, I am having those struggles, I really want to get out of this place, I really want to get out of stagnation, I really want to get out, I really want to stop procrastinating, I really want to stop repeating the same mistakes over and over again, I really want to get out of my cocoon of my closed space, of the space that is taking away my energy. If that is you, all you need to do is let me know. All you need to do is reach out to me and we can talk. We can get on a call. I will understand really exactly where you are. Some of you on the webinar have already been on calls with me, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. I will try to go through, I will get to know you better. That's the first thing that we're going to do. I will want to know what you are going through, where you are in your life, what are the things that you are, what are your struggles. And during this call, I will give you a lot of tips that will help you in those struggles already. And then at the end of the call, if I feel that I can actually give you the plan that will work for you, if that plan that I have is the right plan for you, and if our energies work together, if I find that I can really support you, I will show you what it looks like to work with me. So all you need to do is, if you are that person, if you are going through those struggles and you really need someone to guide you and to help you, let's get on this call. We start with the call and then we will see where we go. But all you need to do is message me on Facebook Messenger. Let me know that you want to talk, and we will start a discussion. Then we will take it from there. We'll get on that call and we will see where that call takes us. I hope this has been fruitful to you. I hope you have learned as much as I can give you from the webinar today. I hope you were able to, grasp everything, and hopefully this will guide you into a better life wherever you are in your life, wherever, like, no matter where you are in your life. All you need to do is to move a little bit closer to just becoming better, just a little bit closer. Sometimes we want things to change for us overnight, but I want you to remember that change takes time, but also, well, doesn't really take time. If we decide that it doesn't need time, we don't really need time to change. But remember to always celebrate even the smallest achievements, even the smallest successes, even the smallest changes. Celebrate them so that you remind your subconscious mind that you are happy through this process, so that your subconscious mind does not come and tell you, hey, we don't want to do this. Okay? So I hope this has been fruitful. I hope this has helped you today, and I will see you again next week. Ciao, ciao.